Good evening and welcome to Journeys with Judy. We are back in York, Pennsylvania at Firefly Hollow Holistic Wellness Center. And we were just here a couple weeks ago in the same room, and not that you all can tell too much, but they have completely changed this room. And it looks amazing. And they have changed this room because Miss Candy Nicholson is going to be working out of here with another cohort in crime.
Mm-hmm.
Not in crime, but
Well,
not in crime.
Hopefully.
You know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we are here with Candy Nicholson, and I said to Candy when we came in that we have never met. No, I got an email. This is the first interview where I haven't at least had a face-to-face meeting with someone. I got an email from Katie Anna Clark that said, look, my friend Candy Nicholson is doing an amazing job. She was talking specifically about your energy school, which we'll talk a little bit about later. She's like, could you please get her on the show? So we had conversed through email, but this is our first official meeting, and I was telling Candy things were kind of quiet before we went live because I have a million questions going on in my head and I didn't want to ask them all before the show. But we are going to start nice and easy. First, Candy is a professional counselor. She's a Reiki master and a shamanic healing practitioner. She works here out of Firefly Hollow, and we'll get a little more detail through that later in the interview. But you have watched the show before, and we start off nice and easy.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour north of Pittsburgh.
Okay. Do you have any siblings?
I have 3 sisters, younger sisters.
All younger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, do they live around you?
No, one's in Indiana and 2 are in North Carolina.
Ah. Do you visit often?
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not often enough, no.
Okay.
Yes.
But you're close?
Yes, we're
Yes.
very close.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now, are they into energy and holistic stuff as well?
One of my sisters is.
Okay.
The other 2 are not.
Okay. Are they
Yes.
accepting?
They're accepting of it.
Open-minded? Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
How would you best describe your childhood?
Pretty free, I guess. Spent most of my time in the woods behind the house. That was in the days when you could just say to the kids, go on out, we'll ring the bell at lunch and then I'll tell you when it's dark and come home again.
Right.
And just roam the neighborhood. So we ran around, and in summers we spent it in the pool.
Nice. That sounds very familiar.
Started a swim team when I was 5.
Swim team?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. How long were you a part of the swim team?
Up through part of college.
Really? You started at 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Started swimming.
Excellent. So what is one of your fondest childhood memories?
I think we used to go around the neighborhood. All the kids in the neighborhood would go around and we'd gather all the things that people didn't need. We'd go to everybody's door and ask them, and then we'd have a little store.
Oh, wow.
And it was pretty fun.
Did you make a lot of money?
No.
Not at all?
No money, no. Yeah, I think we just ended up trading things and stuff or giving it away, but it was just the idea of trying to do it. And then we put little plays on.
Oh, that's fun.
But we did, just playing with the neighborhood.
Now, is there any friends in the neighborhood that you stayed in contact with?
Only one, and she's in New York.
Okay. All right. What was challenging for you as a child?
Well, what was really challenging was that I had sort of a white afro hairdo, real curly, and it was so light blonde it was really white.
Uh-huh.
I was very, very shy. So I was pretty much bullied all my childhood. I didn't have any friends at school, only in the neighborhood.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Very younger. I was the one that they chased around on the playground.
Well, that is not good.
And I was called the cootie. That was the word back then.
Okay.
But yeah, I was kind of an outcast at school.
Wow. So, and it was because of your hair
And my shyness.
and your shyness.
So kids pick on somebody, and they just happened to pick on me.
They find the target.
Yeah, I was the target.
And that went on all through elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you hit middle school. Did things shift any for you?
Yeah, 'cause we went to another school that was a whole lot of schools that came together, and it was a lot different then. So I had some more friends, and then we moved to a different school district when I got to high school. So it changed again.
Did it change for the better?
For the better.
Okay, good. Now, did you become less shy?
No.
No, you were still shy, but people were more accepting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank
people
goodness
came
for
up
that.
to me, yeah. But I've always been shy.
Okay. Huh. But yet, we'll get into this later, but yet you love to teach.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess that is.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Usually teachers have, a little flair for being social and putting themselves out there. So it is very interesting.
I think I do those things that challenge me.
Obviously.
I raised my son in Dream Rights. We kind of helped start Dream Rights Youth and Family Theater.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was on stage as much as I was behind stage.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get through high school, things were good. What was challenging for you as a young adult?
Well, in college I was gang raped.
Oh my gosh.
So that was very challenging.
Whew.
Yes.
And how early on in freshman year, sophomore year, how far?
Freshman year.
Freshman year, right away. Oh goodness.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes. And I never even talked about that until I started the Mind Body Detox and started telling people that then.
Wow.
But yeah, so that caused me to go the route of feeling shame and doing everything in my life to prove that I deserved it.
Wow. So you didn't tell anybody?
No.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Now there are a lot of people that would self-medicate their way through that experience.
And I didn't.
You didn't.
No.
Wow. How did you move through that? How did you get through the next 3 years of college?
Quietly. I went to school. I'm in class, or didn't go to class. I was kind of a rebel in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I was intelligent, and that I had pretty much of a photographic memory, so I could kind of look at the book and go in and take the test and
Gotcha.
run through it.
Okay.
And I was just quiet and stayed to myself a lot.
And you were already shy, so
Yeah.
that didn't really kind of trigger anybody.
No. And I was, I would pick people to be in my life that would treat me badly.
Wow. To reinforce that experience. Okay. Whew.
I don't know if that was inappropriate to bring up.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I mean, these are the things that we were talking about before the show. People
Yeah.
need to understand that we have been through challenges as well.
Yeah.
The people that know you now are like, look at Candy, she's all put together and she has this wonderful life.
Yeah.
To know that you suffered and struggled to get.
Part of my family doesn't even know.
Really?
So now they will.
Wow, okay.
But anyway, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so you get through college.
And
What happens next?
well, after college, I was kind of afraid to be on my own. I just didn't know what I could do or whatever, and so I got married right away.
Okay.
And we moved to Florida because there were no jobs around.
And what was your degree in?
That's almost funny. It was in English literature.
Okay.
I wanted a degree in psych, but I switched colleges. I went to another one where I didn't have to face what had happened to me.
Right.
And so I graduated from Duquesne. And the school I went to, I was in experimental psychology, and Duquesne was into existential phenomenalism. So I would have had to stay and take a lot of extra classes, and I didn't want to, so I graduated in English.
So did anybody ask why you were changing colleges?
No.
Nobody?
Well, I quit for a semester. I just said I wanted to quit. I was tired of it. I didn't want to deal with it.
And what year were you in then?
It was after 2 years.
After 2 years.
And I took off a semester and worked at a little fast food hot dog restaurant and decided, no, this ain't gonna be my life forever. So I'm gonna go back to school.
I don't know what I want to do, but this isn't it.
This is not it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to school.
Okay. Not to keep dwelling on the gang rape, but did you have to face these men? These boys?
No, it happened. I was at my high school best friend's college visiting, and they had a fraternity party, and it was a visiting fraternity from Youngstown that did that. So I didn't ever see them again. I didn't know their names or anything.
Oh, wow. Whew.
So I didn't have to see them, but I lost my friend.
Why?
Because apparently those boys told all the frat guys that a whole different story of what happened,
right.
and he forbade her from talking to me again.
Oh, wow.
Her boyfriend.
Wow. Okay. And you two haven't spoken ever since?
No, I met her about 5 years later, and we talked it out.
Yeah. And then that was done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you carried that heavy on your heart. How long have you been doing the mind-body detox?
A couple years.
Wow, that's a long time for you to carry that. Wow. Okay. All right. So what do you find challenging now?
Talking in front of people.
And here you are, facing your fear. Well,
yeah.
An extra thank you for being here
Mm-hmm.
and sharing so honestly and deeply already. Okay, we talked a little bit, we talked about your hot dog job.
Yes.
What other jobs have you had?
Oh my goodness. I've done many different things. When I was in Florida, I worked at Indian River Study, which was for scientists. We worked on a barge, and they were cataloging what is in the intercoastal waters and right along the coast.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with scientists, and I did data entry and transcribing data and stuff like that.
Okay.
Then I worked in a bank, and then I went to teacher corps and left that, and after that moved to Maine, and we cut down the trees on 80 acres to build a log cabin in the middle of nowhere for 3 years. No running water, no electricity.
Oh, wow.
Kind of living off the land.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
That was in 78.
Yeah.
That's a long
Yeah, that's a
time
long
ago.
time ago, yeah.
Long time ago, yeah. So we did that.
80 acres?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was like $100 an acre, because back then it was just nothing land.
Right.
Didn't really have access.
In 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Then I went to graduate school and worked in Hazard, Kentucky, which is part of Appalachia, as a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And I left that and ran a garbage route with my ex and his 2 sons.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh.
You have done a lot of things. Okay.
Yeah. And when I was in Maine, we did a lot of wood cutting for people, too.
Mhm.
I did wood cutting and whatever odd jobs people needed.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Then I was therapist down there. Then I came here and I worked at Pfaltzcraft for about 13 years
Okay.
in the labs, all different jobs. Ended up in CAD/CAM engineering as a CAD/CAM tech. That's computer-aided design and machining.
Oh, okay.
So the artists would give us a drawing of what they wanted a plate to sort of look like, a 2D drawing. We would put it into 3D space and create surfaces, and then create the things that went around it so that you could machine that and then pour the clay into it.
Oh, wow. That's
So
cool.
we made the molds. So I did that for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then they were shutting down slowly. They were failing, so I got laid off. And I went back to psychotherapy, and I worked at Hoffman Homes with children. And then I worked as a substitute teacher. Then I worked at, for part-time as a substitute teacher. I was working at Psychological Associates of Pennsylvania as a therapist, and added Reiki into that.
Mm.
And then I got a full-time job at, it was Community Treatment Team. Now it's not. It's ACT or something.
Mm-hmm.
Things changed their names. But that was working with people who came out of the state hospital and were living in the community. And we would see them at their homes.
Okay.
And work with them in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I got mugged.
Oh my goodness.
Delivering meds. Then I got a job. They started an acute treatment center for people who got out of the hospital but could not be in the community.
Okay.
But the state hospitals were closed, so there was no place to send them. So we had a facility in York where, for court-committed adults, that they could stay there. Well, it was actually locked.
Mm-hmm.
They were there for 6 months to a few years for treatment. And I was a therapist there for 11 years.
Wow. Now you mentioned Reiki in there.
Yes.
How did your spiritual journey begin?
Oh. That's a good yes.
Yeah.
It actually began, I think, when I was in teacher corps.
Okay.
We had this specific course. One of the big focuses at the time was multiculturalism.
Mm-hmm.
They were just introducing, how to help people and accept people with all different cultures and help them get along. And I happened to have an Oglala Sioux mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And he taught me so many things about their culture, and I realized that spiritually that was the way I felt. And I grew up as a Catholic, but that's not how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
What I believed in, the way that they treat each other and treat the land, and live in gratitude. Just so many things about their spirituality rang true for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was in Maine, I lived that way, basically.
Yeah.
And learned some Cherokee and some other things. After that, I studied a lot of those things, but actually for my birthday gave myself an astrology reading
Mm-hmm.
with Bill Tribbett.
Ah, okay.
And he said, when he read it, he said, "You need to learn Reiki." And so I thought, okay, well, I'll do that, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I found my teacher and fell in love with it. And it just fit right in with my lifestyle and what I wanted to do. And I just, it was my passion. It
Mm-hmm.
became my passion to do Reiki and teach it. And I did that for a little while, and then I accidentally ran into my next mentor.
Accidentally?
Yeah, well, my son and I went to this week-long conference. That was our vacation,
Mm-hmm.
and my teacher was there, and I took a workshop in journeying. I wanted to know about that, and that's where I met her.
Mm-hmm.
And I followed her around doing workshops and taking Peacemaker school classes and retreats, and then did a 4-year intensive study under her. So I studied for about 8 years under her.
Wow.
And she was a Micmac Cherokee medicine woman, but who also had taught with Barbara Brennan.
Mm.
So a lot of those things came through, and she taught a lot of those things with as well.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to tease out what is what. And she did a lot of Buddhist things and had some people come in with the Huna things.
Mm-hmm.
So I studied a lot of different things.
You have a wide
under
scope
her.
of.
Yes, I studied under her for a long time. Then,
would you like to say her name or no?
again, it's Jane Eli,
Jane.
Dr. Jane Eli.
Okay.
And then the man that I worked with, that was the other therapist, took me to Philadelphia. He wanted to try this thing called a oneness blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there a few times and received it, and then started having people come over to York to give it.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister was really into it, and she called me in January and said, we're going in February, we're going to Fiji, and we're going to learn the oneness blessing. You're coming with me.
Okay.
And I said, oh, okay, I guess I will. And so I had to get a passport, travel, I had to do all of that stuff. And it all fell together, and we went, and we did that. And that was another big shift, jumping in my life,
right,
spiritually. So I did that here for quite a while.
Yeah, I always call Reiki my gateway drug.
Mm-hmm.
It's what got me in the door.
It does. But it's also what I always fall back on.
Yes.
Too.
Me
Because
too.
anything you can do with anything else, you can do with Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
It's
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, as you were learning more and more about energy work and the different modalities and how to use it, how did that enhance what you were doing with your counseling?
Well, it's one reason I couldn't really do counseling anymore.
A bit of a conflict.
Yeah. No, the talking was great, but it didn't work for me, and for so many people. There was so much more.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more you can do, and yeah, well, when I was working at Psychological Associates, I could use Reiki to help people.
Mm-hmm.
While we would do that, and then therapy and then that, to relax them and, release things.
Right.
And just so much, just growing in myself. I mean, I changed so much. Because before, I guess it doesn't seem like it, but I was kind of a rageaholic from all the trauma.
Yeah,
that I held
it had to go somewhere.
Yeah, it had to go somewhere, and I would just was one of those people that would just try to find a reason to find something to get mad at everything.
Mm-hmm. And when you say rage, when you would rage, what would you do? Were you a screamer? Were you
I would scream.
Okay, we're back, and now we're on Jen's phone. So, I was going to address this at the end of this interview, because this happened last week with Jackie Hansen as well.
Okay.
So, Jen has taken Jackie Hansen's interview and edited them and put them all together. And have you reposted it?
No.
And is going to repost it back on Facebook. So we'll spread it all around again. We'll have to do the same with you, unfortunately. But we ended with, you have 9 people enrolled in your energy class.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you have way too much information.
Yeah, I just tried to pack too much into one day. But I wanted to make sure I had
Spread
enough.
around, exactly.
I didn't want them bored. I wanted them to have some experience, with doing things. So.
Yes, I can't imagine they would be bored with you.
Really?
No,
Oh.
not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, you're passionate about what you do, and you're passionate about teaching it to others.
Yeah.
You have that behind you. You can't lose. You can't lose. Okay, so you have, this is your beta class.
Mm-hmm.
You said it's a 2-year course.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will you go the entire 2 years before you start another one?
I don't know yet.
Okay. You feeling that one out?
Yeah, we're going to feel that out and see how it goes.
Okay.
So there were a lot of people that wanted to join but couldn't right now.
Okay. That's what I was going to say. If somebody's watching and they're interested, should they just reach out to you and let you know?
Yeah, that would be great.
Just reach out to Candy and let her know that you're interested, and maybe you can get her to start another one in the spring. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
What?
Yes, you could always run a winter or a summer-winter one. No. No. I'm just kidding.
No, it's
You
okay.
are retired.
Yeah, right. Retired from one thing
Exactly.
and doing another.
And now you're doing another. There was a question in there before we lost the connection, but I don't remember what it is. The energy healing program. Other classes that you teach here. That's what it is.
I teach Reiki.
Mm-hmm. All 3 levels.
Well, 4 levels.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
all 4 levels.
Yes.
Okay.
And I do it in classes and individually.
Okay. Now, do you have a class schedule posted on the online?
Yes.
Okay, so they can
Yes.
check online,
Mm-hmm.
and if they want a one-on-one, they can reach out to you.
Yes, and
Perfect.
level 1 will be November the 9th.
All right,
We have one
so coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Anything else?
Well, there's going to be a lot more because with this class that I'm teaching,
Mm-hmm.
we are in that program. We're having, like, I teach 4 days out of the 5 for the semester, and the 5th day will be an elective that they get to pick.
Oh.
So we're going to have Lana come in and teach sound healing. Angie's going to do crystals.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have those, and I'm going to be doing some other classes. I'll be doing the Moon Eye Key Rites and Intro to Feng Shui, and some other different things.
Wow,
So
that's fantastic.
yeah, so we'll be offering a lot of other things, and they'll be open to the public, not just my students.
Oh, okay. And where will they be? They'll be able to find them on the website as well?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
As soon as we get them up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
we'll have a lot of guests.
Yeah, we love Lana. We love her. So you've been a part of the community for so long
Yes.
that you have naturally have these connections and relationships with these people, I would assume.
Well, some of them I don't. I haven't really communicated with them
Okay.
a lot. I mean, I've never met Angie yet, who's going to do the crystal healing. But yes, I've met Lana, and a lot of people I do know.
Which Angie?
Yanks?
She's fantastic as well. We've been able to meet so many people doing the show that
Yes.
we would have never known before.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, this I love the fact that you're naming people and I know who they are.
Yeah.
You're gonna love Angie. I don't know. There's something magnetic about her that is just captivating.
Yeah, and we'll have some classes on herbs and using them with energy healing with plants.
Wow.
A lot of different
I was
things.
gonna say that's a large scope that you're
Yeah.
gonna cover. That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Huh. I'll keep an eye out for your next class. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Upcoming events? Are you involved in the open house here?
I am not. I'm going
Okay.
to be out of town that weekend.
Okay.
But there is an open house.
Yeah, there is an
coming up
open house
November
here.
2nd. And it's going to be really nice.
Yes. Friday night forums at New Visions. Do you ever do those?
I haven't for several years.
Yeah.
I haven't. I used to do some. But that involves talking in front of people.
I know it does. That's what I was thinking. You like to face your fears. That would be a good one. You're
Yeah.
teaching a class of 9 people.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. That's you can't be shy when you do that.
I'm not when I know what I'm doing. It's when I feel like I'm not sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a lot of people that watch the show that are new to this spiritual world, and those that have been around for quite some time but are just struggling. 2019's been a tough year.
Oh, it's been a crazy tough year.
It really has. Do you have any pearls of wisdom for them? Just little nugget that you could give them to help them move through.
I don't know. Just hang on. You're in it for the ride. Yeah, I don't know. It's just just realizing that you can't control what's going on. You can only control how you react to it, what you choose to look at, and how you choose to look at it.
And that's the big word, choose.
It's choose. It's a choice.
It's a choice.
And realizing that everybody is going through it.
Yes.
Everybody's going through crazy times.
Whether they realize what it is or not.
Yeah, a lot of them don't know what it is, but they just know that something's weird.
Yes,
You know,
something's not right.
Yeah, it feels not right. And just try to do it with love. Because that's the one thing I learned where I worked. Because there were all clients that didn't want to be there and didn't want help. And so all you could do was just sort of love them for who they were, and allow them to just unwind and be who they were, and that's the only way that they would heal.
Right. That's a big one.
It is.
You gotta love them where they are.
Yeah. And it's not always easy.
No. Yeah. It's not always easy.
No.
Because we want what's best for them. And we have an idea in our minds what that is.
Yeah.
And it's hard to sit and watch people struggle. When you know there's a way out, they don't have to be that way. They don't have to live that way. It's hard.
Exactly. It is hard.
It's hard, but the bottom line is it has to be their choice.
It does.
Yeah.
It has to be their choice, and when they're choosing to throw things at you and
it's hard to love them as you're ducking.
Yeah. But you do, because they're human too. I mean, they deserve everything that we do. So it was, that was one of the biggest teachers of my life, was working with the people that were that compromised.
And they're the ones that need the love the most.
They are. They are.
Yeah, that's what we would always reinforce that as teachers, and especially the elementary school. Those kids that act up the most, they drive you crazy, but they're the ones that need that loving attention.
They do. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. All right. So take a deep breath and do it with love.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us.
You're welcome.
I know that you were shy because you were uncomfortable doing this, but we appreciate you inviting us in and taking the time to sit down and chat.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're fascinating.
Oh.
You are a fascinating person.
I'm just a normal person.
We all have our journey, right?
Yes, we all have our journey.
I find yours fascinating, not normal.
I think mine's been about experiencing.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of different things.
Definitely. You know, Kate, we talked about Katie. She is one that always says you can choose to learn under fire or under ease and grace.
Yeah, I never learned the ease or grace.
Yeah.
No.
I'm trying in my later years to now focus on learning with ease and grace, because I'm done with the fire.
Yeah, I am too. I've had enough
done
of that.
with the fire.
Yeah,
so just remember, it's a choice.
It is a choice.
All right, so we are going to be back next week. We will be doing a Wednesday show, and we will be with Christine Closer, the Transformational Catalyst. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, Jen will be editing this and putting all 3 slivets together so that you can see the whole interview. Thanks for sticking with us if you're still here. And don't forget you're awesome. Okay. We're sorry for the interruption. But you were saying that you were distanced from your family while you were going through your shift.
Yes.
And your healing.
Yeah.
So you said when you were in Maine, you came out once a month and called your mom?
Yeah, I would come out of the woods once a month and call my family.
Wow. Huh. Did they ever come see you?
My mother came once, and my sisters, I think, each came once to visit me. But we weren't really, when I got out of college, I just wanted to go away. I just went away.
Okay. Now, would you say, looking back on it now, did a lot of that stem from the shame that you were feeling?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so as you began to heal, you said your relationships with your family improved.
Yes,
So,
they did.
and that's because you opened yourself up to them? Did you, because you said you were shy, did you take the initiative to reach out to them more? Is that how things shifted?
I think it was everybody did. I think as my mother got sick, everybody sort of came together. Yeah.
Okay.
She would always try to pull us together. I mean, we would be together at holidays and things, but other than that, I didn't see them very much.
Okay.
That they would come and be here. But when she became sick, then we kind of got closer.
You pull together. Okay, that makes sense. So, you touched on a lot of things. What healing modalities are you specifically trained in? So you have Reiki.
I do Reiki.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I'm trained in shamanic healing.
Okay.
I'm trained in energy healing that I'm not exactly sure. I guess some of the Barbara Brennan type things, but not through her school.
Okay.
Through whatever Jane taught us.
That was that mashup you were talking about.
Yeah, the
okay.
mashup.
Okay.
Trained. I've taken and been passing on the Munai rites for years.
Okay. Oneness.
Oneness.
Blessings.
Oneness blessings.
Oneness blessings.
And I've been trained in Qigong, not to teach it, but to do it and to practice it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
What else?
And you're a professional counselor.
Yes, yeah, I have a master's in clinical psych.
There you go. Wow. All right, that's a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of tools in your toolbox.
I do.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it's more guided. That's not what I've been trained in necessarily.
Right.
You just do whatever you're called to do, whatever you're asked to do.
And how long have you been doing this? You said Reiki was the early 90s?
The mid-90s, mid to, 96, 97, somewhere in there.
Okay, and when did you start practicing Reiki on other people?
Immediately.
Did you? Okay.
Yes.
You were like, yes, I'm in.
I was part of a lot of groups that would meet once a week or once a month and do Reiki together. And I went to Reiki shares. I did it as much as I could. And at work, when I was at the factory, everybody wanted it at lunchtime.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I just go around at lunch giving Reiki to
That's really cool.
other people. Yeah, it was, I've been doing that for 20-some years, teaching it.
That's fantastic. So, how long between your Reiki 1 to Reiki Master? How long did that take you? Do you remember?
We waited 3 months to Reiki 2, and then probably about 9 months to Reiki 3.
Okay.
Because all 4 of us wanted to do it together.
Mm-hmm.
And
then did you start teaching right away?
I started teaching right as soon as I could, yes.
That's great.
And then a couple years after that, learned the Gendai Reiki in Philadelphia when they brought that over.
Mm-hmm.
So that has 4 levels.
Oh, okay. And you teach that as well?
That's what I teach mostly now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, what's the biggest difference?
The big difference, well, there's not as much of a difference now because of William Rand, I think. But Western and Usui Reiki would have 3 levels, and it was brought over by Takata,
Mm-hmm.
from Hayashi, whatever she brought over and whatever she passed on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was more about what you do, healing people and using it for healing. Whereas Doi, Hiroshi Doi in Japan, actually found the Gakkai, which was a group that Usui had started, that kind of went underground with the wars and the emperors and all the things that happened over there. So Doi had to learn Reiki from Westerners that Europeans that came back to Japan
Oh.
because it had been sort of outlawed or squished under.
Right.
But he found the original school that Yusui had started and brought out a lot more things and added more things to it, so that it was, it's more a way of life and a way to make Reiki much more of your life.
Okay.
There are lots of meditations and techniques for doing other things with Reiki.
Okay.
So to me, the difference is between something that you do and something that you are.
Okay. That makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. That makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of sense. Interesting. So when did you start your shamanic journey?
That was around 2000.
Okay. So you've been at this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you just wanted to share immediately once you started, which I think is fantastic. You wanted to teach and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But I haven't taught the shamanic
Oh
much.
no.
I've done I did a couple workshops at New Visions years ago.
You mentioned Bill Tribbett.
Yes.
We failed to mention that you also work at New Visions as well,
Mm-hmm.
helping to run the store.
Yeah.
You're there on Tuesdays, you said?
Tuesdays.
And then you fill in when Bob needs you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And normally I would work on Sundays, but I'm not for a couple months working on the Sundays.
Okay. And you've been a big part of that community,
Yes.
which is fantastic.
Yeah, I've had Reiki shares there off and on, but most of the time for about the last 20 years.
Nice. So do you still have them there?
Yes.
Okay, when are they?
Every fourth Sunday at 6 o'clock. So it'll be this Sunday night at 6.
Excellent. 6 to what?
We finish between 8 and 8:30.
Okay. And is it donation based?
It's donation based, but it's not required for a donation.
Right.
And it's for anybody at any level. If you've never I have a lot of people that have never experienced it that come just to watch.
Huh.
Sometimes they watch, sometimes they receive, sometimes they give. So it's for anybody at any level to do whatever they need to do.
That's great. So it's the fourth Sunday of every month,
Uh-huh.
6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jen will put that in the comments for us. Outstanding. So how long have you been working here at Firefly?
I can't remember exactly. About, must be about 4 years, 3 or 4 years.
Okay. And I would assume you met Kara and Matt through New Visions.
No,
No?
actually I met Kara. She worked at the chiropractor's office that I went to.
Oh, she was telling us about her job at the chiropractic office.
Yes. And
So you met her there?
I met her there.
Okay.
And then I knew her at New Visions and around the community, and she kind of asked me to come here.
Okay.
Right when where I was working was closing down. I think that stopped I think I was out of there for a while,
Mm-hmm.
just doing my job.
Your job.
My job.
Now, do you do your job anymore?
No.
No?
I retired.
Excellent. Congratulations. So your time here at Firefly has been just your holistic work now?
Mm-hmm.
Good. We joked because you said you retired and you feel like you work more now than you ever did.
Yeah, it seems like it. I'm busier. Yeah.
Between New Visions and here, and then you have grandbabies that live right next door.
Yes, that I help out with as much as I can.
That's awesome.
I get to see them a lot.
That's a great way to spend your time,
Mm-hmm.
doing the things that you love with the people that you love.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's the only way to go.
That's great. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to circle back to this mind-body detox.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What was it that, because there's a lot of people out there that are harboring things that have happened with them, traumas, and I know that they've tried a lot of different therapies and even some energy work and things to try to get rid of those emotions. What do you think it was about the mind-body detox? You've done all this training and you've done all this teaching, but it was then. that this truth was able to surface for you and you were able to deal with it and let it go?
Because I'd known for a long time that, I mean, I could have a special bond with people who had had that kind of trauma that no one else could.
Right.
When I worked with them. But I don't know, when I started doing the mind-body detox, it's like I just wanted them to know that I had, wherever they're gone, I've probably been in a similar enough place.
Wow.
In emotions. Maybe totally different circumstance, but the same emotions, the same trauma. Trauma is trauma.
Trauma is trauma. So.
And I think working where I worked helped me to realize, because so many of the people that I worked with as a therapist made my trauma in my life look like a fairy tale, what they had been through. So I think that helped me to not be not hold it down.
Okay.
That it wasn't, you know, it wasn't as big a thing as it had been anymore. It was like, theirs is so much worse.
Okay. So, do you feel that this shame attached to it had lessened because you were learning more and more that it wasn't your fault?
Oh, that definitely, was what it was. Yeah,
Okay.
I had learned that, but I learned that a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned that. And a lot of the techniques I learned with Jane, the shamanic techniques, because you learn by doing them, is when I really faced it then.
Okay.
I faced it and let it go then.
Nice. Okay.
Did all the forgiveness and the letting go and, you know, all the really deep work with it, the soul retrievals.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was taking it as you finally dealt with it at the mind body detox.
No,
Okay. All right.
It's just the first
I was
time
thinking,
I actually
wow. Okay.
admitted it aloud.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
admitted it in front of people.
Because again, you were using your experience to help other people.
Exactly.
That's what you do.
Exactly. And that's what it was about.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if somebody wants to come for a session with you, because I myself am this way, and I get a lot of clients that are just like, you know, do whatever it is you're guided to do. What is it? What could they expect from you?
Well, it depends on what they ask for.
Okay. What if they don't know? That's just
if
it.
they don't know.
Yeah. What if they don't know?
If they don't know, then they would come and we would talk, and I would figure out what was, you know, going on with them. They would help me figure that out, and normally I would probably, before that, do a shamanic journey to ask Spirit what they needed.
Okay.
To see if I could connect. And then I would tell them what I, you know, thought might be helpful and let them choose what they wanted.
Excellent. Okay.
'Cause they're the boss.
They are the boss, but it's good that you do that shamanic journey so Spirit gets a say as well.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
yes. Because, that's how,
That's how you, highest and greatest good.
whatever.
Yep. Okay, so would that be like an hour consult?
Yes, it would probably be an hour consult.
Okay, and if they wanted to get in touch and schedule with you, how would they do that?
They would call Firefly Hollow or go on to Mind Body Online to schedule online.
Okay, so
They could schedule online with me.
okay, so if they want to schedule online, do they go to Firefly Hollow website?
No, they would go, to the Firefly Hollow website, and then there's a link to schedule sessions under me.
Okay, and they would just look for Candy Nicholson. Perfect. I'm sure Jen's going to put all that in the comments. Thank you very much.
But I get a lot of people that just want Reiki or chakra balancing with me, and they just make a session.
Perfect. My work is evolving, whereas, the bulk of my session would be the energy work, and then I call it debriefing. Any information that I get during. Well, it's shifting now. A lot of it is more of the counseling coming into play. Are you finding that shift is going on as well?
A lot of times, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Because I mean, you do transmissional energy healing while you're talking.
Exactly.
You don't have to have them on the table. People will come, and sometimes we only talk.
Okay.
And they feel different when they leave.
Yeah, they're like, I didn't even get on the table, but I feel lighter. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot more of that going on.
Yeah, things are really shifting, and they're shifting fast. And there's a lot of people out there just searching, looking for something that feels right to them. So it's great that we can give you another option to our viewers that are watching.
Yeah, I'm an option, I guess.
A very good one. A very good one at that. So you teach classes as well, as we've been saying.
Yes.
You have a transformational energy healing program. Would you like to talk about that for us?
Sure, I just started that. I had wanted to start teaching shamanic healing years ago, and just I don't think York was ready for it, or the time wasn't right, and I wasn't evolved to who I am now, so it's probably better now. So yeah, I've been working on people, and Kara finally just came up to me and said, Candy, you need to put this school together, and you need to just do it now.
Okay, Kara.
Well, I guess maybe it's time. I will do it now. So I pulled everything together and figured out what I wanted to teach, which is a whole lot of different things all put together, because it's how it works.
I was going to say, it's what you do.
It's what I do, and it's how it works. So it's a 2-year program, and broken into semesters, and it started September 28th.
So you've had your first class.
Yeah.
How did that go?
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Just I didn't know how much I'd get in. I didn't know, because they're my beta class, basically, the trial class, and I put way too much in to do, so now I have a better idea of what to do.
Good. And how many are enrolled?